unsung heroes behind the scenes who's continue to be an innovator of so many different deck lists. And it's going to go with the Inteleon VMAX. Going to sit the Comfey for a minute and try this out. Probably means that the deck is lined up pretty well because he does a lot of work.
Yeah, it does a lot of work. So does that double gunner ability, being able to spread that damage and try to set up those multiple KOs with Gmax Rapid Flow. Now, Andrew Hedrick going back with the good old
Lug and chops.
Reliable, yeah.
We love lug and chops. Got to check it out here. Yeah, of course, Primal Turbo, accelerating those energies onto the Lugia V-Star. You're not going to see those Archeops unless you use that Summoning Star ability, so be looking for that on the second turn. But how many turns are you going to be able to use Primal Turbo is the question, because Victor is trying to get rid of that Pokemon pretty quick.
Pretty quick indeed, in combination with cards like Radiant Alakazam. Even that Medicham V using that Yoga Loop attack to try to steal an extra turn to set up more damage, but it's really going to be all about that Gmax Rapid Flow. Trying to get 120 damage onto your opponent's Pokemon. Looking through Andrew's list, there's no mana fee?
Yeah, that's something that we see a little more of. It's, we don't see Kyogre as much, so you're often thinking, well, I'm not too worried about the sniping damage of a Radiant Greninja. It doesn't line up as well as it used to because of Radiant Serena protecting you from the 12 damage counters of the Sableye for that perfect double knockout there. But you weren't thinking about this. You weren't thinking about Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX hitting you for 120, and then of course working in a couple double gunners to knock out both those Pokemon, and you lose a lot of energy's availability throughout the rest of the game.
Hopefully you can get the Pokemon set up beforehand. You do have some play against the spread though. Radiant Serena, as you said, heals 20 from all your Pokemon in play each turn. You also have that one of Collapse Stadium. Try to get rid of maybe like a Lumineon V that's going to be a liability later on.
Yep, all things that we'll be looking for here, and nothing more important than these opening hands. We know that there's a lot of nerves going into a game like this up against a player of this caliber on the other side of the table. They're not going to know what these prize cards are, but we will. Let's see how these look. Double Boss's Orders already to start things off for Andrew Hedrick.
Ooh, Tyranitar V as well. There's two of those in the list, though. Meanwhile, Victor, Rapid Strike Energy, that Clara, the one-of in the deck, but nothing else too bad.
Yeah, I think the way that the prizes are lined up, this might actually be favorable. You walk into that water energy, maybe get an extra double gunner. For a Sealstone could be the way you continue to find supporter cards. So if you're drawing from the bottom, you might find yourself taking the ones on the top too. That's winning the game, Jeremy.
That is winning the game. If you take all 6 prizes, you will win your game of the Pokemon TCG.
I'm so glad you're here.
It is good to be back in the booth, especially with you, Kyle. And here we go. We're starting off Pittsburgh Regionals round 4 here. Andrew Hedrick starting things off. Lugia V in the active spot up against Inteleon V.
Oh, what a dangerous hand to start things off there. Has a little bit of search there with the double nest ball. If you haven't watched Pokemon in 2 years, it's not like Quick Ball. You're not going to find that Lumineon V. You're not going to find a way to continue to get through the deck and draw additional ways. You're just getting a Pokemon onto the bench. So it's really going to be up to that Capturing Aroma in hand to bail this hand out, unless we're going to read the wind a few times.
Listen, I'm not very good at reading, Kyle. We've established that before. Same with you. I don't know if that's really where you want to be, especially in a matchup that can get a lot of damage down fast in Victor's deck. Grabbing that second Lugia V. Usually it's not really needed right now, but there's not really many other Pokemon you're going to grab with Nest Ball.
What do you do? Yeah, you're not trying to fill up the bench in a situation like this. You don't want to leave extra Pokemon around for Victor to potentially work on later on. So just get the most consistent Pokemon down there, that Lugia V, some high hit points, and try to get to that Lugia V-Star. Well, Andrew has decided, well, maybe I'll grab something different. Maybe the next Nest Ball finds the Lugia, but you're probably going to need to.
Maybe, eventually. Eyeing down that Tyranitar V, though, that is going to be the big hitter of the deck, trying to take down things in one hit with that single strike energy in combination.
Whoa, we got some prize packs over here. Look at that. Not that Tyranitar. That Tyranitar. Very nice to see there. It's, of course, there's some cool things we've seen with Craglands from time to time, but you're really looking to get to that single strike crush. The hand is not that strong, but you do have that single strike energy, so go ahead and attach it, pass over the turn. Let's see what Victor's working with.
Andrew did hold on to that capturing aroma. Just better to have more information on the next turn with your draw before you have to decide if you want to go get a basic or an evolution Pokemon.
Well, I've decided I want Irida now. It's a fantastic opening card there with the Lumineon V to look through, get a good eye of what is all prized there, and you can grab a lot of basic Pokemon there to start things off, and that's really the key to opening up all the answers for this deck.
Irida is one of the most powerful just search supporters we've had in a while, being able to grab 2 cards, one a water Pokemon and then an item with it. And it really just does help open up a deck list, especially with a powerful Pokemon like Lumineon V being able to search it out.
Yep, you may see familiarity in the way that the cards are searched there from Victor. He is working with Isaiah Bradner and crew, so often when you see somebody fan out like that, it's going to be one of the boys.
And skipped ahead a few steps. Just grab the Pokemon before even Irida before the Battle VIP pass. So right now it is Irida. Irida searches that Remoraid and the Battle VIP pass. Battle VIP pass, since it's your first turn, you can play it, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them on your bench. And that's why we see that Inteleon V and that Rapid Strike Urshifu V. And this has been a pretty great turn 1 so far, all thanks to that Luminous Sign.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a Pokemon that you want on the bench, but it's doing its job right now. It finds the multiple Inteleon V. You have that Urshifu V as well that you'll be able to start to threaten if your opponent does have a solid setup with those Archeops later on. And we see that Ultra Ball in hand, which is so important for that Remoraid. If you don't already have the Octillery, you can go and search that Pokemon out. You can always refresh your hand by finding a card like that Karina's Focus, or you can just find the energies that you're going to need to attack throughout the rest of the game.
We're also hyped about Pidgeot EX and Quick Search, being able to search your deck for any card. Octillery has basically been that for this Rapid Strike box deck.
Yeah, Sushi Man can do just about anything he wants, and he does a lot of work there. We see the Rapid Strike energy there already for the Urshifu V, and that's a pretty great turn for Victor. I'd be pretty worried about what this coin flip looks like if I'm Andrew.
Honestly, it needs to be a Tails just so you can search for Lumineon V and get some stuff going on your side.
I don't want to get ahead of myself. Tails
there we go.
is going to be able to find that Lumineon now, and I guess you go for Iona at this point. You have a lot of resources you don't really want to throw away.
A couple of those gift energy in hand. One of the best energy you can find right now with that Primal Turbo ability. If your Pokemon gets knocked out, you can draw until you have 7 cards in your hand, and you just keep the train rolling.
Yeah, you can see just a little unfortunate there for Andrew. If he did have access to the evolution there along with this supporter card, maybe you go and search out that Professor Burnett. Look at this, the aggression here. Andrew understands. So resources are useless if I don't get this turn to Lugia V-Star. So let's see as many cards as possible. Thinning out now with the Nest Ball as well.
Eyeing down maybe that Radiant Serena here, trying to just hedge your bets against the double gunners that are eventually going to come down. And then you get to attach the gift energy to the active Lugia V and hope and pray.
Yeah, one benefit here is you're only dealing with 200 hit points on the other side, so that attachment means that if you use the Archeops to help out, you're only going to have to look for that double turbo energy and one other energy. And we'll see what the cards have in store for Andrew as he takes a look at 7, really hoping to find the Lugia V-Star, and I think we see that, but do you have a way to throw away some birds?
We got one Archeops in the hand along with an Ultra Ball. Do you go one Archeops in this matchup?
You
get the knockout.
Are you playing
no,
Pokemon
there's
if you
no
don't?
V-Star.
Well, he's got the
Ultra Ball, yeah.
But yeah, it might just be a solo, and you take this knockout on the Inteleon V, which can certainly slow down Victor. At this point, you're only looking at one double gunner, which means that the one-hit knockout on the Archeops is not going to be available, which means you have one more turn to charge up that Tyranitar. Maybe that's enough resources to win the game.
And this actually got kind of scary for Andrew here. Drew a double turbo energy, has one prized.
Oh,
If there was
yeah.
one extra double turbo, would not be able to attack this turn with one primal turbo.
Yep, great point there. And sees, yep, it's the second to last card. He's okay, good. I didn't get that unlucky. And is going to have access to the perfect cards, albeit with just one little bird.
One little bird helping out the big one. Lugia V-Star is going to be the card of choice from this Ultra Ball that will allow Andrew to Summoning Star, get that Archeops onto the bench, and from there charge up that Lugia V-Star to take the knockout. So this is the benefit of being able to go first in a matchup like this.
We do see the V-Guard energy as well onto this Lugia if some of the damage does start to get placed on this active Pokemon. As I mean, where else do you want to put the damage? I guess you could go after Radiant Serena too if you want to remove that, but that's going to help out in a little bit of damage reduction, maybe keep this Pokemon around for an additional turn.
Now Victor choosing to bring up that Rapid Strike Urshifu V. That is a big deal because it means your Gale Thrust attack does a lot less damage now. You don't have that pivot to increase to 150. It's just that base 30. Gonna probably rely on that G-Max Rapid Flow this turn.
Wow, look at this. Is to empty the hand with the Ultra Ball right now. Let's take a look through, finds that Radiant Alakazam. That means the double gunner in combination with this Pokemon would be able to line up a knockout on the Archeops. It's going to be on the back of that Karina's Focus, looking for an energy in combination with this. You're going to need one to attach and one to use the double gunner. Man, wouldn't Professor's Letter be cool?
It would be very cool. Professor's Letter, able to search your deck for 2 energy cards. Unfortunately, we do not have that. Even a Capacious Bucket would be cool right now.
Hey, you know, we'll take it. But nope, that doesn't exist. Do we have an Energy Search in here? Usually that is a one of that we've seen sprinkled in, but
there's Retrieval.
Not this time.
6 cards off this Karina's Focus. 2 water energy needed. How about 0?
Oh. Yeah, how do you play Pokemon with this, Jeremy?
You don't.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate there. Look, even the Tower of Waters to give yourself the free retreat where you could have maybe worked in some additional damage if this Pokemon wasn't in the active spot, but now you're just running away. Where do you retreat to? Fish!
Oh, no. Giving up with this Lumineon V means Andrew's just going to need one more knockout on a 2-prize Pokemon to seal up this game 1. And this is not where Victor wants to be on the second turn. Had such a great turn 1, but an embarrassment of supporters off that Karina's Focus.
I'd be a little embarrassed too. We need water over here. We're dehydrated. And Andrew is going to find plenty of energies on his side of the board now. Even though it is the one Archeops, it's got some additional turns. It's going to load up on that Tyranitar V, and I think the draw for the turn was also a single strike energy.
Yeah.
We're dealing damage.
We are dealing damage for sure. With that 4th one, it is 320 damage.
That is exactly what you need at this state of the game. You see the prize cards and the way they line up. With that Lumineon V, you have an easy knockout with the Lugia V-Star, and then you're going to be chasing down 2 prize cards. Victor says, well, you're going to need 3 because of the V-Max Pokemon in play, but thankfully, if one of those boss's orders is found, Teleon V-Max should be lined up for the knockout. And we do see Andrew did find one off the prizes.
And then, of course, Tempest Dive from Lugia V-Star also discards a Stadium in play if you want, so that Tower of Waters going to the discard for Victor, and is going to need to find another pivot for the next turn if he wants to try to do something here.
Hey!
We got a water.
Late. You do take that at this point of the game. We see the Iono in hand as well, so that will be a benefit here. This is one part of the game that Lugia does struggle with, is it doesn't build a hand very well after its hand is disrupted.
You're really just playing with the cards you have in play thanks to that Primal Turbo from Archeops. Here we see the first double gunner of the game. Discard a water energy, place 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Going to the Serena and that Tyranitar V here.
Yeah, at this point in the game, is Archeops even a threat? You might just have to chase the energies where they are and hopefully set up a couple knockouts. One Pokemon like that Tyranitar V, work in that Medicham or something down the line to help out. But I love seeing the water energy played first. You use that, discard it, and maybe the energy retrieval is going to pay off big there. It is the top deck there off the Iono.
It's still sad, but it is a way to get that energy and get a knockout this turn, I believe, on that Radiant Serena.
Let him play Pokemon, Jeremy. He's trying.
Yeah. There's one energy prize, only 6 in the deck, but has been really unfortunate in trying to find those water energies early here.
With the understanding that you are already losing to a boss's orders, Victor feels free to play down that Inteleon V there with the Nest Ball, thin out a little more, and you still have access with that Octillery to find a few more resources. What are you looking for here?
Tower of Waters could just be useful, or that Rapid Strike energy as well if you want to save the energy retrieval. But you will be getting rid of both of them with your G-Max Rapid Flow.
Yep. Looks like one of those situations where you're trying to think about next turn, and we do see the Karina's Focus is going to be the choice there. With one of those Rapid Strike energies prized, makes it a little more difficult. Just go ahead and throw away both of those there. I do expect to see that energy retrieval tossed, and you're going to have to go after the big boys at this point. Tyranitar V needs to get knocked out soon, because it is a threat.
I don't see a way for Victor to really kind of cling back into this game the next couple of turns, just because even if there is no boss's orders, there's going to be a ton of damage on that active Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. Now, looking through the list, sometimes you do see a Cheryl, and there is one.
I think this is one of the comeback mechanisms that we could see. If you play down this Urshifu V, then you have the potential to work in a card like Melanie to get an extra energy attached to that Pokemon. Then you find the Rapid Strike energy, you get that second snipe off, and most importantly, you have 330 hit points in the active spot. And at this point, you are trying to avoid Andrew Hedrick finding boss's orders. If that's found, the game's over anyways, so just leave high hit points in the active, try to soften up these Pokemon.
Forest Sealstone goes down on that Inteleon VMAX, and we do see that energy retrieval grabbing that basic water, so you can actually attack with G-Max Rapid Flow here. Now, I do forget Andrew's hand. He's been playing it very confidently to where I think there just might be an Ultra Ball in it. There's 2 Luminion in the deck. Or it was Iono'd. Oh, yeah, that's right.
This is so bad.
Okay, we have an opening here.
Yep. Yeah, that's what happens when you get Iono'd and lose your boss's orders to the bottom of the deck. Double Archeops and a Pumpkin. It's not Halloween yet. That's not going to work. So let's go ahead and find some energies just to thin out. You're not really setting up a relevant attacker at this state, but who knows? Maybe Speedwing's going to get into the mix. You're looking at any attacker at this point in the game.
And honestly, I think it's where you kind of need to go. I do like the gift energy
nice,
on
yeah.
Tyranitar V, though. That is the threat that Victor's trying to knock out here. And if that gets knocked out, then you can at least try to draw into that boss's orders.
Yep, this does play around that scenario where we see the Melanie recharge and attack in with the damage. If you can work in the damage counters with the Medicham, that'd be nice, but we clearly see there's no bench space there for Victor. He's pretty dedicated to this strategy of knocking Pokemon out with the Urshifu VMAX.
Now Andrew is debating attaching that V-Guard energy as well that reduces 30 damage from your opponent's Pokemon V. That includes V-Maxes.
It kind of lines up, kind of doesn't. Maybe it helps in a situation where the Inteleon V is attacking into, V-Max, excuse me, is attacking into this Pokemon, but I think that only matters if you're attacking with Tyranitar this turn, as we don't see boss's orders as a card from Victor so often in this deck. Usually you're just sniping around.
And that is true, yet no boss's orders here. There is that Tempest Dive on that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. 200 damage. Now it's up to Victor to see what you can pull together here. And a few cards you can't really burn in the hand. You got that Escape Rope. But other than that, gonna maybe Karina's Focus for 3 cards?
I'm not sure. At this point, you look at the setup, I see that Forest Sealstone. I really like finding that Melanie. Then you can use Octillery as well to find that Rapid Strike energy. At that point, you're just trying to, off the 3 cards of Melanie, find the other Urshifu VMAX or that energy. Either one will get the job done. And you can play a ton of damage onto the board and maybe take knockouts with double Gunner. And that would be a great way to avoid activating that gift energy.
That Rapid Strike Urshifu V going to the active off that escape rope. Victor really deciding, and yeah, like you said, still has access to that Star Alchemy here.
I think you got to get lucky at this point. Use your Forest Sealstone, find that Melanie. You're going to look at 3 cards. If either of them is the evolution or the energy, you're set. Octillery will find you the other piece. You can get a ton of damage down. We also saw that energy retrieval as well, so Double Gunner can start to soften up some Pokemon, and maybe the comeback lines up there.
Now looking at the math, there's 140 on that Tyranitar. You're dealing 90. That's exact numbers.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think you avoid it. I think you attack into Archeops and Lumineon V.
No.
But misses there, and how unfortunate.
Double Tower of Waters to go along with the water energy found off those 3 cards off Melanie.
Are we just 100 punches? What do you do here, Jeremy?
You can. It does what? 150 takes the knockout?
I mean, you just lose because you don't have enough hit points in the
Yeah,
active.
but
this is,
we'll worry about that later.
Yeah. That's a problem for next turn. But you do see a lot of energies in play. Maybe moving this Archeops is a little trickier than we thought. All right, thinking about benching when there's 5 Pokemon in play. That doesn't work, Victor.
That does not work, yes.
Don't do it. No.
6 bench Pokemon. There we go.
No Skyfield today.
Didn't you know the new errata for Tower of Waters?
That card is literally broken.
We do have access to
single prize Pokemon. That's the way to stick around here. Solid identifying there from Victor. Knows that the Radiant Alakazam is going to be a great way to steal some prize cards. Maybe the sacrificial Sushi Man will be enough.
Collapse Stadium off the top of the deck.
That's not it, Chief. We don't have enough Pokemon. You could counter the Tower of Waters.
Get rid of the damaged Urshifu VMAX from Victor's side of the board.
At this point, you're still looking for boss orders for the win either way.
Okay, there is double turbo and a jet energy left, but that won't be able to take the knockout.
No!
Because Octillery has 110 HP. Double turbo reduces 20 damage for the Pokemon attached to it, so it looked like maybe just a retreat to the Lugia, take the knockout here.
Let's just Cragalanche. Let's just discard all of Victor's energies or something ridiculous at this point.
We have seen Cragalanche take a few games on stream. Multiple ways.
Yeah.
Andrew is going to retreat with that double turbo. Brings up the Tyranitar. We're going to Cragalanche.
This is such a great choice, as you already have the gift energy there. This Pokemon is threatening to win the game next turn on any other Pokemon. Whoa! That's exactly what you wanted to get rid of. Finds the evolution and the energy. Victor's resources nearly depleted, but he finds the Ultra Ball. Is there another Urshifu?
There's not, but there's the Clara in hand.
Hey.
So you can Clara bring back that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX.
There's a problem.
There's no energy. Your Octillery got knocked out.
We lost him.
No. Where'd he go? Someone give him wrong directions.
He's over there.
Yeah.
The good news is, you know you have a Rapid Strike energy prized. You can risk it. You can use Double Gunner. You can move the damage with the Radiant Alakazam there and try to soften up one Pokemon. Is there a way? I guess you need to have the 2 Double Gunners in order to get the job done there on the 230 hit points of the Tyranitar. There's a lot to work out here for Victor.
Discards the Tower of Waters to go along with that Battle VIP pass. Ultra Ball will be able to find Inteleon VMAX. And there is that powerful VMAX Pokemon. But again, this is such an interesting decision. Karina's Focus or Clara? Clara is your only way to get back that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. So if you want to attack with that this turn, that's going to be the route.
But you might have to just go for energies at this point too, and take those. But we're going to see the Karina's Focus to draw up.
There is that Rapid Strike energy. All right, now we need to do some math. I know it's your favorite part of the stream.
I'm a human calculator without batteries.
So Inteleon VMAX does what, 140, returning the energy to the hand. So 110, that's more than enough to take the knockout.
Oh, easily. The problem here is we needed 2 water energies, and we have 1. The knockout on the Tyranitar is awkward. You're trying to knock the Pokemon without dealing the direct damage. You don't want to activate that gift energy. Andrew could easily find the right cards, but we know he's already holding the boss's orders.
Well, that's not good.
For who?
Rapid Strike energy is going down on Urshifu V. We have the retreat. I guess Lugia is doing 200 damage.
Yep, it's going to be a little short there. The problem is that's not the Urshifu we're attacking this turn.
Yep.
Andrew is going to take those cards with the gift energy first, promote that Lugia V-Star. Boss's orders closes things out here in game number 1.
Listen, when you have 2 boss's orders prize, you're eventually going to find them. Andrew did just that.
That's sometimes exactly where you want to see them.
Terrible IO.
You can knock out whatever you want in the opening turns. We saw Victor really slow start, had to just continue to promote Pokemon that weren't attacking, and could not find the right turn for that huge momentum shift. Was always 1 card short. Almost was able to get the job done though, which makes me think that this is going to be a really great game too.
Yeah, again, Andrew, that game just had access to 1 Archeops for the entire thing and still was able to charge up the Pokemon. Didn't really matter. And I think that's just due to the slow start that Victor had after that pretty good turn 1.
I'd love to be Justin Young right here. You get to listen in on these 2 great players talking about what went right and wrong in that game there as they get ready for game 2. It's always great to get some insight from the table and just hear what these guys are thinking of, because there's a lot of wins between these 2 guys right here.
Yeah, both players are known for starting 9-0. We got a replay here, and that was just a pretty fast boss's orders.
That's it. That's all we really needed to see there. It lined up so well there for Andrew. Just needed to find the boss's orders. Eventually was able to line that up with the knockout on that Octillery. Victor tried to get the job done by setting up a few different potential strategies to close out. Wasn't able to find that second water though. Now we're going to be looking to see what's next in game 2. Double V-Guard. That's a little interesting.
Double Rapid Strike energy.
That's a lot of interesting. That's really bad. You need those, Jeremy.
You do. And Victor is going to have to play out of his mind to try to cobble together something here and start things off. Ultra Ball discards Irida.
This is one of the problems that I've seen with this deck so often. I don't like going first with this deck. You need Irida. You need to find that Battle VIP Pass. It can't just be on the back of finding the Battle VIP Pass by itself or that Forest Sealstone. This setup is never going to be enough. And it feels so awkward here if you're Victor, thinking, man, Irida would have had a full board and I would have been ready to attack next turn if I got to go second with this.
Yeah, Yoga Loop.
That's an attack, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I would probably use the Tower Water and get out of there, but sure.
Energy retrieval, grabbing back the energies so you can have an attachment for the turn. Now, Victor's hand is okay. It is that Karina's Focus and that Inteleon VMAX, but other than that, is really struggling to find other Pokemon. Meanwhile, Andrew drew a Professor's Research for the turn, hits a heads off the Capturing Aroma, which, without that Professor's Research, this hand would have been terrible.
Yeah, I was getting really worried. It looked a lot like game 1, where this Capturing Aroma was going to matter a lot, but thankfully with that supporter, it's going to help out, lead to this Archeops finding the discard pile, and there was a Nest Ball as well, so you can find that Lugia V. Get a pretty solid setup for maybe finding the right cards on turn 2. That's really all you can ask for here.
Now with 1 Archeops in hand, potentially, but most likely going to grab the Archeops here with this Capturing Aroma. Professor's Research and then Nest Ball. Even if you do have some resources, do you just research it away?
Yeah, I think you have to, and he's shown that he's not afraid to do that. It is unfortunate that you'd lose the single strike energy, but you can go ahead and attach that to the Tyranitar V. Maybe it sticks around. You have that Urn of Vitality that'll still be floating around in the deck that could help out finding that resource later when you're trying to hit that 320, which we know can be pretty.
And you need this Pokemon if you want to play the game with this deck. It is the namesake. And, ooh, Jet Energy bringing it forward. This is going to help Andrew read the wind after this professor's research here.
Yeah, if any of these 7 cards are Archeops, it's going to the discard immediately with Read the Wind. Nice line there from Andrew, and
wow,
I think we see a lot going on here. That's a pretty good hand.
It's a stellar hand. You got Lugia V-Star, Ultra Ball, Archeops, Nest Ball. And another professor's
play
research.
This slow if you want, probably. This
just read the wind.
Yeah, maybe just use one of these nest balls to grab the Radiant Serena. That's a Pokemon that you love to find, but ultimately you're just trying to get that Archeops in the discard pile. And if your opponent has to Iono here, it's not really helping them out. They have no Pokemon in play.
I don't know about that. There is that Radiant Serena, like you've been saying. It's also something that you don't want to draw into if you already have the Nest Ball. Might as well just search it out and then draw your 3 cards with Read the Wind.
All right.
Second Archeops.
There's the Pokemon you're looking to find in the discard pile early. I don't really care what these 3 cards are. As long as they're not all energies, you're probably okay, and that looks phenomenal there.
Luminion V off the top for Victor here. So now has the decision of Karina, or do you Luminous Sign for something else? I think Karina's focus gets you the most cards. And hey, got Tower of Waters and a Rapid Strike energy, so you can't attack this turn.
You're attacking, but Nestball probably has to go find Remoraid. Octillery can show up on the next turn. We need Urshifu soon. You have to threaten these Archeops basically next turn.
What Archeops? They're not in play yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not a fortune teller, but look for those Pokemon in about a minute 30, Jeremy. They're coming.
All right, I have my timer set. And there is that G-Max Spiral, 140 damage on that Lugia V, setting it up for a knockout next turn.
Love this there. I'm just going to get rid of it. It's a good reminder for yourself that you are going to use that Radiant Serena. Go ahead and get the job done there before you forget about it.
And now there's no knockout next turn.
We like that.
With the way things stand. Lugia V-Star gets put on the active, and now Summoning Star grabs both Archeops. I don't know. It hasn't been a minute 30 yet.
He's still shuffling the hand. Give him some time.
Yeah.
Let him think about it.
We're getting close. It's like 45 seconds now.
See the double turbo there. If you only search out that V-Guard energy off of the Archeops, then it's going to be pretty solid here for Andrew. Just avoiding the knockout from that Inteleon V-Max. And, of course, dealing some very relevant damage and removing the Tower of Waters. I think he's helping me out here. That Iono first is pretty nice for my minute 30 prediction.
Get that gift energy to the bottom of the deck. That way you can search it out if you want, especially with this Lugia V-Star damaged already, and to protect yourself from your opponent's Ionos.
All right, look for the V-Guard, because there were 2 in the prize cards. Thankfully, not seeing the 1 off of these top 6 there means that it will be available.
Listen, are you a wizard, Kyle? Because it's a minute 30, and there are both those chops on the bench.
Shoe on head.
Such a better start here from Andrew Hedrick in this game 2. Already won game 1, eyeing down that gift energy. With this first Primal Turbo, still has access to that 1 V-Guard energy, like you said.
Yeah, I think that really helps promote the longevity of this Lugia V-Star. Get some nice damage down, maybe work in that 3 prize knockout, and you can threaten all sorts of different Pokemon later on from there. You're not worried about working in the Tyranitar V as much. You can boss his orders and maybe even work in a Pokemon like that Archeops to knock out an Octillery later on.
Eyeing it down, 3 different energy cards. Looks like that V-Guard with the first Primal Turbo to the Lugia V-Star. And then at least one single strike energy. I think we're going to see 2 on that Tyranitar V. Get that set up for next turn.
Yeah, I really like this here from Andrew. Just identifies Gift Energy is a good card. It can help out finding those resources that you're going to need. You're going to need them even more in about 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah.
So
your
let's
Pokemon are safe.
Let's just
for
stick
now.
around for a little bit, throw the V-Guard on. No need to get crazy and throw a 5th energy onto this Pokemon. Deal some really nice damage. Remove that Stadium from play. Pressure's right back on Victor.
Escape Rope off the top for Victor here. And the hand kind of lackluster. Does have access to Irida and Ultra Ball.
Looks like potentially the first Irida of this game here for Victor. Such an important piece in the opening turns, but maybe it's going to be exactly what he needs here, finding this Octillery, which leads to a plethora of different options there of the Rapid Strike variation.
Looking to grab that Hisuian Heavy Ball as well. Maybe grab something from the prize cards, which was a Rapid Strike Urshifu V. Easy way to search one of those out. None on the bench so far. Victor is definitely on the back foot here in this game too.
So tough. Sees those Rapid Strike energies in there. He's going to have access to one more with the Octillery, but one stranded on the Inteleon VMAX right now. It's not exactly where you want to see that, but this turn, it is a little more helpful. You're not going to be attacking with that Urshifu V this time around, so softening up the Pokemon is probably going to be the right play, even though it doesn't feel great.
And I don't think we're going to see a double gunner from Victor here with that Radiant Serena holding things down for Andrew with that Elegant Heal.
Yeah, so often you have to incorporate the Radiant Alakazam if you want to get some relevant damage down with the Radiant Serena in play. They just continue to counter each other, so place the 20/20, stack it so that it's just 40 on one Pokemon, and then you get a single gunner. That's okay.
Not as good. Not as good at all. Third Inteleon V maybe getting benched here. Victor also deciding maybe holding that bench space open for Ultra Ball for Luminion V in the future.
Yeah, this is so tough. Having to use these resources like the Ultra Ball to find the basic Pokemon in these instances, throwing away those Battle VIP passes. Of course, that's where you want them, but did not have access to them on the opening turn. So it's just going to be picking these pieces one by one, and you can just see how slow it is on Victor's side. He's not getting exactly what he wants as he's working on a setup against an opponent who's definitely already set up and ready to go.
What? You're telling me multiple energy in play, attacking, and having 2 Archeops and the Radiant Serena set up?
Winning. Looks pretty good from this side of the board. Of course, Victor understands that is going to be what games look like. So often in a matchup like this, you're trying to build up damage on the other side, find these surprise knockouts with the Medicham and the double gunners building up, but you need the system already in place. You need these Pokemon, you need to find those energies at the right time. Just doesn't seem to be lining up here in round 4.
I think here we're going to see just 110 damage thanks to that V-Guard. Victor does get the Rapid Strike energy back in hand. Oh, no. We're actually going to have Escape Rope here. And then a Strafe.
I don't feel comfortable with any of these, but yeah, that's probably where you're going at this point. Get a little bit of damage, and then you can hide. Boss's orders. There's open bench spaces. There's Luminion that could potentially come down. There's all sorts of different things.
And I don't even think a little damage. The resistance of Archeops putting in a ton of work here.
Oh, yeah. Nope.
This is not looking good for Victor at all. Definitely on the back foot, and that Radiant Serena is going to heal away yet again. Now 100 damage on that Lugia V-Star, inching closer and closer to just not being knocked out anytime soon.
I don't think we saw the boss's orders yet, so capturing Aroma.
That
Seeing that Tails is very good.
It's a basic Pokemon, and that means Lumineon V is available. And Lumineon V turns into a boss's orders pretty quickly. Who knew it was a quick change artist, but...
It's evolution, it's just a boss's orders. He just puts on a suit.
I would pay money to see Lumineon in a suit.
That is the alt art that I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A wealth of options in Andrew's hand as well.
I mean, this just lines up so well. If you, as Andrew, you could potentially play down this Lumineon, boss up Pokemon like that Inteleon V Max. Then you could play the Collapse Stadium, make your opponent lose one of these Pokemon on their bench, along with you removing that Lumineon V, which opens up another bench space for you later on.
For another Lumineon V.
And another boss. We're going suit shopping.
Literally and figuratively. First Primal Turbo gift energy on that active Archeop so you can retreat. Second one grabs that third single strike energy for that Tyranitar V.
Ooh.
We're going to Cragalanche too? Is that what we're doing?
Depends where you want to go at this point. We see that Victor does just have the one card in hand, so maybe there was a window where you target the Octillery and knock that out with Cragalanche. Instead, prize hungry, and rightfully so. This is the line that made the most sense here. Collapse Stadium puts a little pressure on Victor. Helps out tremendously here for Andrew.
And for all you at home, this is why sequencing matters. Being able to play everything in the right order so you can get that Lumineon V off the table and make it so Victor cannot get rid of that heavily damaged Inteleon V Max.
Yeah, I watched a how-to video from Jeremy Jalen earlier on that, and it was tremendous. Highly recommended as we see Andrew taking that knockout now.
And opts not to discard the stadium as well, so keeping Victor to that 4 bench space. But wow, 4 Sealstone off the top of the deck. Not going to matter too much, but it does allow Victor to keep playing the game.
That is the first thing that you need to do here. Let's continue
Play the game.
Play. Maybe find some help here to target down these Pokemon, but the problem is without the multiple double gunners, you're not going to find a way to knock out both Archeops here, which means you probably are going back to that same old strategy that didn't look very strong in game 1, where you're attacking into the 2 main threats. Maybe it works out this time around, as we do see Urshifu V Max and another Urshifu down. And sure enough, finds another evolution off of the Karina's Focus.
Does find that basic water energy, so we'll be able to G-Max Rapid Flow this turn if he chooses. No access to another Inteleon V Max, so no double gunner just yet.
I think at this point you don't even want to play the Inteleon V Max. Just seeing the 3 prize cards left from Andrew, understanding the Tyranitar is a boss and a single strike energy away from closing out the match. You're going to have to work with the hit points that you have in play. It's probably going to be the same old Melanie shenanigans, trying to work back-to-back G-Max Rapid Flows.
There is that 3rd energy on that active Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max. Eyeing down a Pokemon for Echoing Horn, but needs to get rid of that stadium first.
Look out! Collapse Stadium did stick around. That was calculated there from Andrew. And usually that is going to be something that we see countered, but might not be necessary this time around.
We do see that Star Alchemy, though, from that 4 Sealstone hiding under all those cards from that Rapid Strike Urshifu V Max.
I love this. This is sequencing.
This is
This is deck thinning. This is not that cool, but if you're a nerd like us, you love to see it. Use the 4 Sealstone for the nest ball for the Radiant Alakazam so that you don't draw that ball later on. We don't need it.
We needed it earlier.
Yeah.
Now, not so much.
Go away.
All right, I'll leave.
Not you. I need you.
Feels nice to be needed. So there we see the Painful Spoons moving 20 of that Radiant Serena. That will allow Victor to take the knockout here with Gmax Rapid Flow. But again, is it too little too late? Is just multiple Pokemon already charged up on Andrew's side of the board. 3 prizes to go, and I don't know, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, that was so much work. That was everything that Victor needed, and it still doesn't look great. You remove this Radiant Serena from play, so at least some of the healing is gone now. We're not going to see that come back. There's no way to bring these Pokemon back. But the Counter Stadium, maybe even that Luminion and some bossing could lead to more prize cards, and Andrew continuing to put more pressure on.
Speaking of pressure, found a second V-Guard off the prize cards, so gets that attached to that Tyranitar V, which is going to help immensely. It's going to force Victor to try to Painful Spoons again and take the knockout with a Gmax Rapid Flow.
Well, we see here the Professor's research. This means that Andrew is going to just attack into this Urshifu VMAX this turn, which is a solid strategy as well. There is no healing that we see on the other side. Occasionally we've seen, oh, actually we do see the Cheryl, so that is still an occlusion, but it's just that one of, and you've already seen your opponent use their Forest Seal Stone, so finding that resource at the perfect time, it's a calculated risk there.
We also do see, thanks to that Professor's research, some other Pokemon hit the discard pile. Stone Journer, trying to see its HP. 130. Okay, not gonna matter too much then. All right. But we do have to worry about the Echoing Horn,
yeah,
just in case.
Maybe even that poor little pumpkin every once in a while.
That is true. There is that Tempest Dive. 200 damage, discard that Mezagoza.
All right. Ooh, it's a supporter, but I guess it's a pretty good one. It's Melanie. This can continue to find some attacks this time around, but you're not healing, which means that Boss's Orders is pretty good on the other side.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good card. It's been around for a while now, and anytime you can just pick and choose what Pokemon you want to knock out on your opponent's side of the board, you have to think it's going to be an all-right card in the Pokemon TCG.
Echoing Horn's going to play down that Luminion V. Some additional prize cards for Victor to target.
Finding its home in between the Archeops.
And this is where you're trying to get a read on your opponent. We see the debate here. You can Melanie and guarantee a strong attack for yourself, or you can Iono, try to avoid that Boss's Orders. It is going to be the Iono. Did he have the right read?
I guess we're going to have to see.
I didn't see the hand.
Cards are going to the bottom of the deck. Each player draws cards equal to their prize cards. So Andrew is going to get 3. Victor's going to get 5. Victor needs Rapid Strike Energy still. Does have access to Rapid Strike Search. Found that Inteleon VMAX. You already lose the Boss's Orders anyway.
That's right. Good time to play this Pokemon down. You have that Water Energy as well, so you could get a little bit of damage down. Still see Octillery there to search out that Rapid Strike Energy. That Rapid Strike Energy.
Remember, there was 2
Jeremy.
prized.
Jeremy!
Oh no. All right.
Uh-oh.
Well.
All right.
It was a fun game.
Yeah. We're going for the water gun.
Woo.
What do you do here, Jeremy?
Cry a little.
I'm going to cry a lottle. This is awful.
Is that a new
Have
Pokemon?
There's 1,000 of them. It's got to be one. Yeah, we see. I guess you can play the energy down onto the Inteleon VMAX and try to set this up as an attacker later on, but this just isn't right. How unfortunate here, just not to have the right resources to close out. It's gonna go for sniping plays to close out here.
Boss off the top. Oh, it was close. Supporter.
She's a boss.
The good old Professor Magnolia. Yeah.
Hand not ideal. Can do a little bit of thinning here. Take a look at those energies. Leave it, at least one of those for potential retreat purposes later on, but that gift energy is a guarantee. If that Tyranitar does fall, you at least will have a backup plan with a fresh hand. It's going to be pretty solid there. Don't want to draw into that resource as well before this Professor's research. Maybe this gets you a step thinner. Also, if there were good cards in that hand with the Iono, it's a good shuffle.
Yeah, very good shuffle. Primal Turbo is very beneficial in thinning out your deck, getting to kind of counter the disruption from Iono. And then there we see that Professor's Research. Discarding cards, just trying to find a boss's orders for next turn.
Yep, making the most of all those resources there. Going to get the attachment onto the Archeops as a potential pivot Pokemon down the road.
And if you're Andrew Hedrick, you definitely got to tell from Victor that last turn, searching for that Reparade and retreating to it. Maybe you don't have Rapid Strike energies left.
Yep, it was probably going to be the Rapid Strike energy and telling out VMAX and pop the energy right back up to the hand. So instead now it is a lot of sad boys trying to snipe their way down onto the Tyranitar V. You can soften it up a little more. It's still going to be one double gunner short this turn, so it has time, but you lose the boss's orders, and that is in the hand.
Andrew, a very heads-up play of just not taking the knockout here. You could discard the stadium to kind of disrupt Victor a little bit, but if you take a knockout and Victor has another Iono, you're just drawing less cards. And you already have the boss orders in hand.
Exactly.
If the only out for Victor is Iono, and if that happens, you're drawing an extra card right now.
He can only press the bailout button twice, and he's used it once. This turn it's going to have to be the Clara. Find some water energies for the double gunner. Going to be short.
Also, not taking the knockout means there's no bench space for something like a Medicham to get maybe some shenanigans going on. There's that double gunner, though, going to spread a couple more damage counters to that Lumineon V and that Tyranitar V. Radiant Alakazam moving 2 more over. Just 30 HP left for that Tyranitar.
This has really been the name of the game here for Victor as well. Just a little short each time, trying to take big knockout turns. Try to turn the tide here, and just the attachment of the water energy onto a Pokemon that doesn't even have energies available in the deck. He's thinking of everything, but everything doesn't solve boss's orders. That's going to bring up this Urshifu VMAX, take a big 3-prize knockout. That means that Andrew Hedrick is going to be starting things off very strong here in the first regional of the year, and rightfully so. 4-0 here.
It is not the first time we've seen Andrew Hedrick start out 4-0 with Lugia. It's not the second time either. And he is looking to clean up a pretty perfect day one Swiss here. First, you just need to hit that seven wins.
Okay, that's just in 3 more rounds, right? If you're Andrew Hedrick, it's easy. You just line things up there. Yeah, it's going to be trusting the old lug and chops. Sometimes it is just lug and chop, but that was enough in that first game there to get the job done. Victor was identifying the lines, but just couldn't find the right cards there to have those big turns. And still going to be 3-1. Potential to see a lot more from this player as well, and we're going to be following that throughout the course of this this tournament to see a little more from Victor.
Yeah, maybe he hits a couple lost box in the field. Some good matchups his way instead of the Lugia.
I mean, it seems on paper, if you get the opening setup you're looking for, that VIP pass, you're going to get the job done. And just cards were not there for Victor. And we see here a desperate turn using that Clara, finds some energies and get the single gunner on there to the Tyranitar, but it's going to be a little bit short, not lining up. And it's going to be thinking about the following turn there with maybe finding that Rapid Strike energy out of the prize cards to pull off a crazy swing turn and take all 5 prizes. It's not going to be happening this time around. Andrew Hedrick closes things out.
And I think it goes to show that both of our replays are just Andrew Hedrick playing boss's orders to take the victory. That is what Lugia does. You are just very consistent as long as the coin flips go your way, and so far, things worked out for Andrew there.
Yeah, I mean, boss's orders is going to go down as one of the best cards in TCG for eternity. as we've seen that card close out so many matches. So often those are the last words that we say of a round, of a tournament, of a season. We finished off the World Championships with that call as well. So always going to be looking out for the big boss.
Yeah, what's your favorite boss's orders?
I like the blue Getsus right now. That's my go-to.
Wrong.
It's not you can't be wrong, Jeremy.
No, that's just objectively wrong.
Okay, well.
It's definitely Cyrus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you, buddy. I play the ones I have, and I got top 8 at a cup where they give you 4 full art bosses, and those were the ones I got. So I gave 2 to Justin, and I played the other 2. And if I ever need a third, I'm in trouble.
It has been the card of the Pokemon TCG for a while now, and the fact that they made it in a way to where it kind of stays evergreen in the format. It's something that we're going to keep seeing for the future, and people are just going to have to play around it. You need a lot of disruption in your deck to try to mitigate that late game boss's orders to steal a victory.
I mean, for 20 years now, we've been trying to figure out what's the right way to give this effect to the game, because it is so important to incorporate the bench into the game, and having to think about potential healing and all that. So Gust of Wind, Pokemon Retrieve, Reversal,
Oh, don't remind me
Pokemon
about that
Catcher, Pokemon Catcher's Errata to go back to Reversal. Then we had Guzma and Lysander
Custom
and all
catchers.
these. Oh, there's so many different ridiculous ways to move Pokemon around. I'm okay with the cross switchers and the boss's orders. This is a fine format with those as the main ways.
Yeah, also to mention Bright Look and different abilities to bring up. Right now you have Umbreon VMAX, which...
All right, have you seen the Umbreon Charizard deck that popped up?
It looks fun. Just being able to quick search for a Luminous Energy, I want that to happen.
Yeah, and you cover some more just more dark Pokemon to attack with. Mew has to be free at that point, right?
You'd think, but
it'll still find a way.
It won Worlds, and it finds a way to still stick around in everyone's hearts.
Heart, yeah, that's not my heart, Jeremy. I'm sick of this card. Little Pink Man needs to go away. It continues to find ways that it messes with my deck lists, and I have to incorporate Drapion V or Spiritomb and all these things. I don't want to do that. I want to play cool cards, Jeremy. I want to knock out other Pokemon. I'm done with this.
Listen, consistency is king in the Pokemon TCG, and Mew VMAX is one of those decks that's just been very consistent ever since it came out. Lugia is also another one of those decks. Very consistent ever since it came out. And Andrew Hedrick here, 4-0, proving just that.
Yep, flying high as someone predicted.
Someone.
Yeah. No big deal. I mean,
who?
It's so conceited at this point where there's 300 other people who are undefeated. There's plenty of other decks that are winning right now to get to 4-0, but I mean, Andrew Hedrick did it, so.
I mean, if you came into this tournament and guessed who would be undefeated by this round, Andrew Hedrick would be a very good guess.
He's one of the 10 names that I would include, absolutely, for sure. It's just the consistency that we've seen. It's on another planet. It doesn't seem right that he could come in and do that twice last year, really putting his name on everybody's big board as a player to look out for, and he's showing once again that he's going to be a force, and it's really great to see this the up and comingness of his stride to get to the top. It's something we're going to be looking for a long time now.
Well, we're going to be looking for that for a long time, but we're also going to be looking forward to our interview with Andrew. Let's go ahead and take it down to the lounge and hear from our round 4 winner.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the lounge. Adam Watson here with our round 4 winner, Andrew Hedrick. How you doing, my friend?
I'm feeling pretty good.
I mean, I feel like we've got you in this lounge talking to you a lot. You're a big winner, and now you're already starting off your new season strong. How you feeling?
Yeah, definitely pretty excited for the new season, and glad to start off the year 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0, taking down some big names already with Victor Aung. You're staying with Lugia, by the way, which was an all-star deck for you last season. Do you think that this is a comfort pick for you? Is the meta good, or is there just nothing else really capturing your attention?
So yeah, one thing, I was actually testing out the deck that Victor was playing, the Urshiru and Teleon deck, but I saw a lot of people looking at that deck, and I was like, well, I think Lugia is pretty good against that deck. So then I thought maybe if I brought that today, I'd hit some, and I have already hit 3 of them, so I've actually, and that's been a pretty good matchup so far, so.
So it's just been the meta keeping you on this deck. I mean, you've got the skills and the experience on the list already. Has Lugia been performing for you decently enough, or is it just because you are hitting this particular matchup?
It's definitely helped to hit that matchup, right? There's a lot more, closer matchups, but when I hit this, and it definitely feels pretty good to hit it. I mean, obviously he has a chance to win, but it's definitely favored for me.
It certainly, I think we saw Victor was struggling to put together a lot of those big plays the deck is known for. When you got, Iono down and that boss was at the bottom of the deck, were you worried at all, or were you still confident I've got plenty of time to still draw into my outs and just win this game?
When I drew into the research, I definitely felt like, because I had at least a couple turns to try to find it, so drew into the research, shuffled my deck with a Primal Turbo to get the Ultra Balls and bosses like back into the deck, and then played the research, and I was pretty sure I'd be able to draw into it. So
the pressure was definitely very light, I think, coming from your opponent. And with the single Archeops start, it seemed like Victor did have you on the ropes. Is single Archeops as scary as we make it out to be, or is it a legitimate line of play that you feel Lugia players could go for a bit more often?
There's definitely some matchups where it can be not the best idea, but I feel like in this matchup, it's pretty hard for them to take advantage of it. If you just set up 2 attackers with like V-Guard energies on them, it takes them a lot to go through it. So even if they kill your Archeops, if you have 2 attackers up, you're probably going to be fine anyway.
Okay. And we talked about this a lot at the top of the show. The people at home definitely want to know. Let's say you win this first regional of the season, you get your Worlds invite. Are you the type of player that's going to kind of kick back and chill, maybe practice in the background, or are you just going to keep that tournament grind going?
I got to keep going to events, though. Got to try to win.
Just got to keep winning. That's all that matters. Just keep winning. And if you didn't bring Lugia, let me ask you this. You were looking at Rapid Strike to potentially bring. What was the factor that actually told you not to bring this deck? Was it not performing well for you, or was it just purely a matchup thing?
I thought it was a pretty good deck, but I definitely thought its Lugia matchup was kind of an issue, and I thought with people like it kind of receiving more attention, that more people might think about playing decks like Lugia or Mew to counter it. And so then I was kind of worried. I didn't really want to take those bad matchups, so I thought I'd pick Lugia. It has more even matchups across the board and a pretty good matchup against the Rapid Strike Urshiru deck.
Yeah, and you played it to perfection. Nice 2-0 victory. Plenty of wiggle room, it felt like, to just get that boss's orders and close out the game. VMAX Pokemon, as we know, give up free prizes when they're knocked out, so it's pretty easy math to just take those wins. Do you want to give a special shout out here while I've got you to anybody who helped you practice, or maybe anybody who was a big factor last season, maybe again returning to help you this season?
Yeah, shout out to all the people playing Lugia with me, Gabe and Cal and Justin Templar. And I'm sure there's some other people too who are playing with me, but yeah.
All right, that's great to hear, that the homies are still getting together, still practicing, and this is the sort of study and consistency that we talked a lot about when it comes to high-level play. Is there any other factor that you would say that goes into success as a long-time Pokemon TCG player like yourself?
I think just like practicing a lot with the deck that you want to play and having like some familiarity with it is just like really helpful. Not switching to decks at the last minute, right? I think that's
don't get baited by that. I think that's something players always struggle with the week leading up to a tournament. Wednesday before regional syndrome, right? Where you just, I'm going to switch at the last second. But you stuck to your guns. Lugia is performing quite well. And hopefully we can see a little bit more action from you as we head through the Swiss rounds. We're going to kick things over to a quick break. When we get back, we've got another round of Swiss for the Pittsburgh regionals. So don't go anywhere.